Grace and peace to you, brothers and sisters, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Amen.
You ever go to YouTube and look for a video and then get lost wandering around in all the recommended videos on the side? I did that this week. I was at work. Sorry, but I was doing a very mundane, boring job of signing letters and stuffing them in envelopes, and it was nice to have something going on while I was doing that. So I was remembering Jack Parr. You remember Jack Parr? A lot of you younger folks would not, but Jack Parr was the host of The Tonight Show before Johnny Carson. He then, after that, he did a weekly evening program that my dad liked to watch, and I enjoyed watching it with him. This was in the 60s, and got to meet some of these incredible, interesting people that he would talk to. Well, one of these videos, there was a clip of one of his programs, and he had Jonathan Winters, who is one of my favorite all-time comedians, crazy guy. And he was telling this story about, well, Jonathan Winters, and I didn't know this, he did a great JFK impression. And Kennedy was president during that time. And he'd even been on the Parr program. So Jonathan Winters called Jack Parr. He was telling the story using the voice of JFK. And he had about a 5-minute conversation, and Jack Parr was, "Yes, Mr. President, yes, Mr. President," and just kept leading him on and stringing him along, and until he finally revealed who it was, and of course he felt so embarrassed. Now, I have a confession to make. Now, when I was a kid, maybe you did this too, but my buddy and I would call random numbers back in the day when we didn't have, caller ID, and ask if their refrigerator was running. Go chase it. It's evil. Those sorts of things. But, calling to pretend like you're somebody else, like Jonathan Winters did to Jack Parr. Okay, this is a stretch, but Jesus is doing a little bit of that here in Luke 24. He's playing along with these two disciples as they walk to Emmaus. He doesn't reveal himself, and they think he's just some stranger. So stay with me. I do love this story from Luke's gospel of the undercover Jesus and these two clueless disciples, and also the scriptures that Jesus reveals to them, their meaning as they walk. Now these two are not from the 12, but they are from the larger group of followers of Jesus, and only one is named, Cleopas. And they have walked 7 miles from Jerusalem to their home in Emmaus, talking about all these things that had happened. Now they have probably experienced a good bit of this week, from Palm Sunday all the way through the Holy Week activities. They've seen either up close or from a distance. They see Jesus on the cross dying. A lot of things have happened in this week. And can you imagine their emotions as they walk home after this week, having seen Jesus on the cross? Well, it says they are talking and discussing. So they were really into it, talking and discussing. And Jesus comes near and goes with them on the road. And it says their eyes were kept from recognizing him. I think we should give them the benefit of the doubt. There were probably tears in their eyes. It was blurred vision. And of course, the last time they saw him, he was beaten and bloody on the cross. And here he was in resurrection array. Well, Jesus asked them, "What are y'all talking about with each other?" And I love this. They're walking along. "What are y'all talking about?" And they stood still, looking sad. But they're probably, I can picture this. They're walking together. "What are y'all talking about?" They stand still and give him a look. Like, "Are you kidding? Where have you been? Are you an idiot? Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place there in these days?" What things? He's playing along. I love how he just keeps stringing them along here. And I think he's suppressing a chuckle at their expense. Well, they reply, giving a quick summary of the life and ministry of Jesus and that he was condemned to death and crucified. And they say, in effect, we had hoped this was the man to redeem Israel. But now he's dead, and it's been 3 days. But those crazy women of our group astounded us. They came back telling us they saw a vision of angels who said he was alive. Some of us found the tomb empty, like they said, but we didn't see him. In other words, so it can't be true. You know how women are. Now, yes. By the way, and this is extra charge, there's no extra charge to this, and you can take it or leave it. But remember, on Easter, we talked about Jesus and the angels first appearing to Mary Magdalene and the other Mary, the oppressed, shunned, ignored women. They did not have the rights of man. And Jesus told them to take the message to the disciples, to share the good news of the resurrection. God always turning things upside down, going to the oppressed and the downtrodden. Well, scholarly argument rages about who these two disciples are. It's always been assumed they're two men, but only one is named. Some suggest maybe they were a married couple, man and woman, which is interesting. But all the tradition and all the artwork and all has them as a couple. Maybe they were a couple of men inviting Jesus to their home, this stranger. So is Jesus appearing here to some other group of oppressed or shunned or ignored people? Okay, that's enough of that. But regardless, Jesus tells them, "Oh, how foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have declared." I think he's still having fun with them here. But by the way, didn't he tell his disciples time and time again that he was going to die and that he would be raised on the third day? Why didn't they believe him? And then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them the things about himself in all the scriptures. Wow, wouldn't you have liked to be in that Bible study with Jesus? Of course, the gospel writer doesn't give us the details. Wouldn't that have been a nice book of the Bible? Have Jesus kind of explain everything. But the teachings of the prophets about the Messiah were pretty clear, and Jesus affirmed in his teaching that those teachings were about himself. But it was just so hard for these people to believe it. And they saw him dead. They saw him beaten and bloody on the cross. So did he really mean that? So these two disciples are still clueless. Cynthia Bourgeault, who is an Episcopal writer, and I love this, she said, clearly they are stuck in their story. And their stuckness is what makes them unable to see the person standing right before their faces. They are trapped in the past, filled with self-pity and doubt, and no one can recognize anything in that state. And what Jesus does, she writes, in this case is he writes their story for them. Verse by verse, he leads them through the pertinent Hebrew scriptures, reinterpreting their meaning in the light of himself and leading them to the inevitable conclusion that death can't be the end. Well, that doesn't sound like something I'd do. You know, stay stuck somewhere in my own self-pity and doubt. I'm sure you never do that, right? Well, they approach Emmaus, and Jesus walks ahead as though he were going on. But they urged him strongly, "Stay with us, it's almost evening." So he goes to stay with them. They prepare some dinner, and it is only when he takes the bread, blesses it, breaks it, and gives it, just as we do every week in communion. It is only then that their eyes are opened and they recognize their risen Lord, and he vanishes from their sight. Holy cow, it's true. Were not our hearts burning within us as he was talking to us on the road while he was opening the scriptures to us? Well, that same hour, they had walked 7 miles from Jerusalem to Emmaus. They had made dinner, and now they go back immediately that same hour to Jerusalem. I bet they ran. They couldn't wait to tell their friends, their companions, the 11 and the others gathered together. Sure enough, they told what had happened on the road and how he had been made known to them in the breaking of the bread. The collect today puts it this way: O God, whose blessed Son made himself known to his disciples in the breaking of the bread, open the eyes of our faith, that we may behold him in all his redeeming work. The risen Jesus makes himself known in the breaking of the bread, even today. Can we realize Jesus is right here with us, perhaps standing even face to face with us? What if he makes himself known in the breaking of the bread? Those breaking of the bread moments, not only at communion, but in helping at the food pantry with a literal loaf of bread. Or enjoying a church potluck dinner by sitting with people you may not know, perhaps from the 1 o'clock service. Or giving some money or food to someone who's homeless. Maybe, just maybe, in those moments, those breaking of the bread moments, we too will see Jesus right in front of us. And weren't our hearts burning with this? Amen.
Amen.